All right, shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all being in this episode of The Coma, coming at you with another report. And this is hitting some very particular information here in terms of Cat Terrell from ESPN did a primer or a pretty much a recap and maybe a brief look at what free agency will be dealing with. With free agency, we'll just see how it all goes. We'll recap that and go over some of this stuff here in this episode of the show. So shout out to FanDuel, our official sponsor of the show. Y'all feel free to hit the like button, sub button, subscribe button, and notification bell all at the same time as we get going in this particular broadcast with Cat Terrell talking about how the Saints utilize this rare clause to get under the contract salary cap, but it's a lot more than that in this. All right, so the Saints utilize rare clause under to get under 2026 salary cap. Thanks to Cat Terrell, shout out to her. With that, the Saints cleared room to get under the league's $301.2 million cap. Several contract restructures were occurred, which have been standard procedure for the franchise for a decade, but this year the Saints utilized a little known clause where AK-41's contract to free up space while providing flexibility if they part ways with the running back this year. Now, ahead of the NFL's tampering window, which is noon Eastern time of Monday, the Saints are at least $11 million under the salary cap. That accounts for the possibility of $48 million in dead money if the contracts of Demario Davis, Cam Jordan, Taysom Hill, and Foster Moreau automatically void on this upcoming Wednesday. So $48 million in dead money. And the reality is that is something that the Saints probably are comfortable with because they got $150 something odd million for upcoming season next year, where they can absorb a lot of that dead money and finally be done with it. The Saints didn't have much to do as last year when they cleaned up $60 million in restructures, pay cuts, and releases. They allowed them to resign Chase Young, tight end Juwan Johnson, and other players like Justin Reed, or restructure those guys. So it's been a big turnaround. For 5 years ago, the Saints had to clear $100 million in cap to get compliant in 21, and then that because of the ramifications from the C-19 situation. Now, will the Saints be looking? Where would they be doing this year in free agency? A left guard tops the list of several years of signing free agents such as Lucas Patrick, Dylan reduced to 1 year deals. They might be saying goodbye to nickel cornerback Alante Taylor, who posted a thank you to the city on his X account on Friday. Then they'll be potentially preparing for the roster without key veterans such as Demario or Cam, depending on the next few days how it plays out. Now, entering the final weekend before free agency, the Saints had 2 restructures. Kamara's rework contract process with more moves to come. So they'll also they will all also carry over the 10.2 mil from the 25 season potentially to spend. So here's the Saints, how they have gotten to salary cap complacency or compliancy with other moves that they can make before the new league year begins on Wednesday, 4 p.m. So the move Saints have made, that's official. The reworked Alvin Kamara contract, we covered that on previous broadcasts. They reworked this way in a different way. Now, the NFL collective bargaining agreement has a provision for contracts known as the 50% rule. And that says that player salaries and bonuses cannot be less than the remaining prorated portion of the signing bonus for that year. So a restructure of Alvin's contract would have added $2.04 million to each year, which is more than the $1.35 million base salary allotted for the 27 contract year. So the Saints took the sum of the difference between Kamara's 26 salary and the 27 salary, a total of $10.55 million, and turned that into an optional signing bonus to spread out the cap hit over the remaining portion of his contract. So the Saints used the same technique with Sheldon Rankins back in 2020 when they restructured his contract, allowing them to spread out portions of his 5th-year option salary over several years. Now, Kamara's previous cap number of over $18 million was one of the highest on the team. He'll turn 31 on July the 25th and has finished the past 2 years unable to play because of injuries. That makes him a long-term future uncertain, with the team possibility looking to get younger and spend less at the position. The previous cap number at 18.63, new cap 10.51 million, a savings of 8.12 mil, not 8.12 mil. So we'll see what happens on Alvin Kamara. We know this is his final year. We know they had to rework his deal some kind of way to get it down. So they reworked the deal. They got the money down. He has 1 year. Him and Kendra Miller have 1 year. It's no doubt in my mind the Saints will be looking at a long-term option at the running back position, and it's the proper time to do it, to be honest with you. With Kamara coming in his final year as a possible mentor for the running back, whether it's Jeremiah Love or whether it's a running back, Tyler Jury, anybody in free agency. The Saints have options that they can look at this year. On to the restructured Juwan Johnson contract. The Saints converted $7.85 million of Juwan's $9 million base salary into a signing bonus. Johnson's contract was a standard restructure that will push the future salary into the 2030 season. His contract still automatically voids at the end of the 27 league year. Previous salary cap number is almost 14. New cap number is 7.61, and the savings of 6.29 million, so over 6 million savings from just Juwan Johnson's contract. Now, in terms of Justin Reed, the safety, Saints converted almost 8 million of Justin Reed's 9+ mil base salary into a signing bonus. Reed's contract was a standard restructure that will push the future salary into the next 5 seasons. His contract automatically voids at the end of next year. So previous number is over 11.5 million. His new cap number is 5.19, a savings of 6.36 mil from the safety. Also, the restructure of Chase Young's agreement. The Saints restructured Young's contract by converting most of it into a base salary. They'll do this by reducing the 14.83 mil of the 2026 base to a league minimum of 1.215. This is the most common technique that Saints use for the 6-year veteran, and spread that over 5 years. So the previous number for his cap was over 20 million. The new cap number is 9.6, and they save almost $11 million in the base in just the Chase Young contract. Now, they still have other things to deal with. You also got the Carl Granderson. The Saints they got to restructure. Now, this is still yet to be determined, but these are things that they're probably working on right now to try to get done with in terms of what the team is seeing. In terms of Carl Granderson's contract, the Saints can convert Carl's contract, which is 10.75 million, base into a signing bonus. Add a void year and spread the cap hit over 5 years. They can also convert the $2 million roster bonus to a signing bonus and split into like a $500,000 bonus over 5 years. So the previous number over 18 million, the new cap number could be 8.83 million, and they can save just over 9 million in savings on Carl's contract. Then you move to the center, Eric McCoy, who had 2 significant injuries during the past 2 seasons. This hasn't played a full season only once in the past 5 years. That is very glaring. Hadn't played a full NFL season only once in the past 5 years. That could give the Saints pause about a restructure, which will make McCoy's future cap hits higher. However, they still have faith in him as their starting center, so it's unlikely to be a concern if they need the free space. But restructuring his $10 million base and his $500,000 roster bonus and adding a void a year will free up over $7 million in cap space from him. So his cap number almost 18. His new cap number could be just over 10, and a savings of 7.36 mil in another possible restructuring. So you have between Granderson and McCoy, you got roughly over $15 million between savings that can be tacked on what you currently have. And I'm pretty sure the Saints are still working on getting this type of stuff done with the team. Then there's also more restructurings the Saints could look at, and Cat's covering all of this because this will free up a lot of money. We talk about 15 between McCoy, over 15 million between McCoy and Granderson. How about Cesar Ruiz, the Saints 2020 first round pick, 2 years remaining on his contract that he signed in 23. Currently, he counts over 14 million against the 2026 cap. Saints already have 9.5 million tied up in future dead money if he's released before the 27 season. So whether they restructure his contract depends on if they view him as a long-term option, but they could add a void year and push the money into the future with a restructure. If they did that, you can see over $14 million, which is his previous cap number. His new savings can be 7.57 with a savings of over $6 million on Ruiz's contract, and that right there gives you over 20 million between 2 players. Then there's Pete Werner. Pete Werner's contract, 2 years remaining on his deal. From the 3-year extension he signed in 2024, a full restructure will open up $4 million in 2026. The previous number at almost $8 million. The new cap number could be 3.4 plus, and then they can save 4 with him. So there you go, 24, 25 million right there between them and Divine Gacho's contract. Right, the Saints acquired him in trade, and he has 1 year remaining. 3 voided years already placed. If the Saints don't touch his contract, he only count less than 2 against the cap if his deal automatically voids at the of this year. Matter of fact, so if they do restructure, they'll save $4 million against the cap. Previous number 7, new cap could be 3. The savings could be over 4. That catapults the Saints to about $30 million, $29-30 million in cap relief with those players. How about Isaac Yiadom's contract? He returned to the Saints as a free agent, but the emergence of rookie Quincy Riley pushed him into the backup role. He has a cap hit of 3.48 mil. However, because of the 1.5 million guaranteed base, the Saints will save only 575,000 against the salary cap if they release him. Now they would save more than that, 1.2 plus, if they designate him a post June 1st cut. So 3.75 is his current number. His new number could be 2.9, and that's dead money. And the savings is based on whether or not you release him prior to or after June 1st. Most importantly, if you designate him a post June 1st cut, 1.275 mil is what you get, but you will have to then wait on that money until later on in the summer. But the reality is this could also serve well later. And then, of course, it's the option added a void year to Chris Olave's 5th-year option. The Saints have been in talks with Olave about a possible extension since last fall. But as of right now, he'd be playing on a 5th-year option, which is over $15 million. The Saints could lower that cap hit by restructuring his base and adding voided years, which is a tactic they use with players such as Davenport and Marshawn Lattimore. If they do that, they can add 4 void years to spread out that cap hit and lower his 26 salary number significantly. If they fail to reach an extension, he leaves in free agent. They'll have to account for the remaining portions of the converted signing bonus next year. So they would have to then be about the business to get the extension done. And I do think that ultimately they will get the extension done. But let's say we follow her logic here, and his current number is 15.5. You look at the new cap could be 407, and then you look at an estimated 11.4 million in saving. This could catapult the Saints near $40 million. We're looking at about 38, 39, $40 million possibly right there in terms of that. But that is something we have to look at and see if they can do it. So you get your 40 right there with the remaining restructurings. So we'll see how the Saints got a lot of work to do, man, to kind of get. And then, of course, she addresses the contracts of Davis, Jordan, Foster Moreau, and Taysom Hill. Y'all hit that like button as we keep going here in the second leg of this report. Hit the like button if you're not a sub up, man. We talking about contracts. We talking about the Saints. We seeing what they're doing here. Now, the Saints have 4 veterans with contracts that set to void this upcoming Wednesday. Now, the scenario would make it immediate for free agents. The automatic void functions the same way as a release, meaning all 4 of the veterans will count against the salary cap, even if they aren't on the roster. So this applies to Taysom, who retires at Wednesday's deadline. This could be voided by signing each player to a new deal before the league begins. However, this move for all 4 seem unlikely. So some of the sources told Adam Schefter that Jordan will not receive a new deal before the deadline. Cam, meaning the Saints will be accounting for at least 1 dead money hit out of the 4 free agents, right? Cam's hit will be 18.76. It's the largest of all of the potential hits. And it totals the dead money for all 3 or 4 rather of these voided contracts is $48 million. So the Cam's cap hit is 18.76. We already know that's not going to happen. We'll see, though. Things change. Taysom Hill is 13.72. Demario is 14.29 million. And Foster Moreau is 1.4 mil, which they can absorb that. But these are bigs. The Cam Jordans, the Taysom Hills. We know Taysom's probably not coming back. Demario Davis and Cam are 2 guys that a lot of people want to come back. We'll see if they can make that happen. But this is a lot of money here between what we're looking at in terms of the Saints, and they'll have to figure out a way how to do this. So a lot of reworking and restructuring is going on. We should hear more restructurings coming into Monday, and ultimately prior to the Wednesday deadline. You would hope that the Saints get all of these reworkings and these restructurings done prior to free agency, so they can have the necessary fundage so they can go out and start getting the proper people that they want. Now, I do realize that some of these guys that they'll be dealing with or trying to go and get are people that ultimately that will that ultimately will they'll have to compete for. So we'll see how that all works and which way that turns and how this shakes and moves and grooves as well going into it. So a lot of restructuring, a lot of work to be done here for the New Orleans Saints to sign competitive veterans to help the team upgrade and elevate and break this playoff funk that we've been on. It starts actually starts Monday, man. We'll see where our team goes. So with that being said, y'all fill in the comment section. How do you guys feel about some of this going on? What do you guys think about what should be done in terms of restructuring of players that the Saints should go after for Monday? Now, it'll be some competing going on. We got some other teams that got a little bit more money than we do, but the Saints have to be able to take care of business against some of these squads, man, in terms of getting the money right so they can compete on the open market, and we'll see what their plan is. So with that being said, fill in the comments section. Y'all give me y'all thoughts on that and let me know. Shout out to FanDuel, the official sponsor of the Sports Coma. Y'all get y'all prop bets in that. FanDuel, any professional sport, it does not matter. FanDuel got you covered. Y'all hit the like button, sub button, subscribe buttons, all the buttons, and also check out the merch in the comments section. We got the new Tyler Shuck y'all collection, man. Vintage Tyler Shuck y'all gear is available. It's really popping, man. Y'all check out that. The link is in the description section below. So with that being said, man, I'm gonna get on out of here. I appreciate y'all, man. More content is on the way. I'm gonna holler at y'all in the next one. Peace and who that? Who that say they gonna beat them Saints? Who that? Who that? Who that say they gonna beat them Saints? Who that? Who that? Who that say they gonna beat them Saints? Who that?
Hey, New Orleans! Whether you're catching up on Saints news at Jackson Square, checking Pelicans scores in the Garden District, or staying updated on LSU while grabbing coffee in the French Quarter, there's one place that keeps you connected to everything that matters in our city. From Bourbon Street to the Superdome, from Preservation Hall to the Riverfront, New Orleanians are staying in the know with the WhoDatDaily.com. Your daily source for Saints, Pelicans, LSU, and all the sports, music, and culture that makes our city special. At work downtown, at a game in the Dome, or just relaxing by the Mississippi, wherever life takes you in the Big Easy, you can stay connected. Because when you're from New Orleans, you don't just live here. You stay in the NO. That's stay in the know. Visit the WhoDatDaily.com and never miss what matters most to Who Dat Nation.
Welcome to the Pro Shop, where we create authentic NOLA-inspired clothing for men, women, and children. From Saints jerseys to Pelicans gear, everything's crafted right here in New Orleans. Whether you're shopping the Pro Shop, the Pel Shop, or the Pro Shop Kids, we've got your whole family covered with genuine merchandise that represents our city's spirit. Check for links in the description section below or in the chat.